How's it going, everyone? Got quite a lot of exciting news to talk about in this video for those of you that are my JRPG brethren. You guys know me, I love me my Japanese RPGs, and we've got a lot of exciting updates. A big JRPG looks to finally be making its way on over to PS4 and PS5. Atlus has detailed a Metaphor Refantazio livestream that should get more information about the game out ahead of its October release, and a bit of an update on the fabled Final Fantasy IX remake. Now, with this remake, there's a couple things to dissect. We'll talk about it as we have a pretty reputable update at the end of this video. However, starting things off, Octopath Traveler 1 has been rated for PS5 and PS4 in Taiwan alongside Octopath Traveler 2 for Xbox Series. Usually, whenever a game does get rated, I don't even remember when it hasn't come to fruition. It's usually far enough along the development process, and for whatever reason, they just haven't announced the game. It does come to fruition. I want to say that Live Alive may have even been leaked for PlayStation via a ratings listing. I might be making that up, but nevertheless, it's happened a numerous amount of times. Octopath Traveler 1 certainly is not as good of a game as Octopath Traveler 2. Let's just get that out there right away. It set the table for Octopath Traveler 2 to build upon a lot of the failures and the shortcomings of Octopath Traveler 1. I feel like if I say failures, that paints the game on a bad light. It certainly was not a failure, and I think a lot of people were very much taken aback by the great HD 2D style, the throwback JRPG aspect to it, given that, you know, at the time these games weren't as common. It just had some shortcomings in terms of quality of life and things of that nature, but I still remember having a pretty good time with it, and it was initially released exclusively for the Nintendo Switch. Then it got ported on over to PC, but has yet to see a release on other platforms. It may have even been released on Xbox. I don't recall exactly, but Octopath Traveler 1 has not been available on PlayStation 4 and 5 for a while, so it'll be nice to get that out. Hopefully it's priced accordingly. Like a $39.99 price tag I think would be perfect. I would say $29.99 would be ideal, just because, the game is so many years old. It's not as good of a game as Traveler 2, and, we talk about deals on this channel. Ain't nobody trying to pay $40 for a game this old, but it is a game that's going to give you a considerable amount of content, so from that standpoint, it might be worthwhile to check it out, and hopefully it is out in the relative near future, given that it just got rated. A game like this, they're not going to do a big promotional push for it. This is one that's like thrown out in a press release, and then it's out like 4 weeks later. That's the type of announcement that this is going to be, or that I expect it to be. Next up, a game that has been getting the promotional push is the Atlus title, Metaphor Refantazio, and Atlus will host the second Atlus-exclusive Metaphor Refantazio on June the 7th. Holy hell, do we have so many gaming events to cover in the next couple of weeks. We got Summer Game Fest, we got Xbox's Showcase. This is going to be happening. It's just going to be game news after game news and a lot to cover. I know Jeff Keighley said temper the expectations for Summer Game Fest, and I don't think people are expecting the world out of it, especially if it is just geared for the games that are coming out within the next 18 months, which, chef's kiss, that is absolutely perfect. Even if you gotta announce games like a new Cooking Mama or something like that, I don't care if you waste time. If it's out in the relative near future, you announce 4 new Cooking Mamas for all I care. And you know what? A new Cooking Mama will probably get people very excited. Not to crap on Cooking Mama, but you get the idea. Metaphor Refantazio, on the other hand, we already know the game is coming out October 11th. It is interesting because it's an Atlus title, so there's gonna be that question mark of, is this the definitive version of the game? If past is prologue, a lot of Atlus games these days, let's be real. P3R, SMT5, they be doing these, release the game and then do the definitive edition a year later with new content, and a lot of people see it as new content, other people see it as cut content from the original game, but let's be real, Metaphor is looking fantastic, and if you're a fan of JRPGs, is this not one of your most anticipated games for the latter portion of the year? And I think, obviously, timing just worked out, but I really think it would have been unfortunate if Metaphor as a new IP came out in the beginning portion of the year, or alongside Grand Blue Fantasy, P3R, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. For the fall, if you really look at the calendar, based on what's announced so far, Metaphor is that big JRPG. It is going to be the game that's going to have all eyes on it if you are a Japanese RPG fan. Metaphor is going to be the game that a lot of people, I feel like, gravitate towards. It is going to be $70. Persona 3 Reload was $70, so that shouldn't be too surprising. And I don't know if this is gonna be a game that's gonna, you know, draw people in from outside the JRPG sphere. I don't think it's gonna be that, but those within this sphere, this is gonna be one of your most anticipated games, maybe the most anticipated game you have for the rest of the year. And the content we've seen thus far out of it has looked fantastic, so hopefully that continues. And again, the game will be out PS5 Series, PS4, PC, October 11th. You know what? I expect it to be released on the next generation Nintendo platform sometime in 2025. I think that makes all the sense in the world. Lastly, there was a note by Midori on Twitter, reputable Persona leaker. Development of this title in regards to Final Fantasy IX is now very far along. A Final Fantasy IX remake, I should say. Noting, but I do not have any firm information on the scope of this title or a firm release period right now. This title could release before the end of this fiscal year, but I am not certain right now. End of fiscal year is obviously March 31st of next year, so it doesn't necessarily mean that it would be a 2024 game, but this is another one of those games that I could see get revealed, and then an announcement isn't going to be 4 weeks away like I expect for Octopath Traveler, but like 4 months, 4 to 6 months away. I could easily see that. I could easily see an announcement at Summer Game Fest and be like, hey, this game's coming out early 2025. That's something I could easily see happening, because this is not going to be a remake to the extent of the Final Fantasy VII remake. I think this will be true to the original, and to be perfectly honest, just to temper my own expectations, I'm expecting something more on the along the lines of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. There will be some quality of life improvements, there will be some visual enhancements for sure, some other improvements across the board, and they'll charge $49.99 for it. Let's not pretend that it's going to be anything less than at least $50. And Final Fantasy IX is a beloved game that people will absolutely pay $50 for it. But I don't expect like a full-on ground-up remake where they're segmenting it into multiple parts like they did with Final Fantasy VII. At least I don't expect that. Who knows? They can do whatever the hell they want. But given a game like this, if they were doing a full ground-up remake, I would have expected a reveal or an announcement, you know, a year or two in advance. And Final Fantasy VII Remake, to use that as a comparison point, that was announced 5 years before it initially came out. I feel like the gaming landscape is a little bit different, where that the reveal time from certain publishers is starting to go down. Like Final Fantasy 16 was revealed only 3 years before it coming out, and for Square Enix, 3 years before a mainline Final Fantasy game coming out, that's a huge W. That's a huge W in the modern era, so keep that in mind as well. But FF9 Remake is certainly going to be a gigantic title when it is ready to be released. That's going to do it for me. Again, Octopath Traveler 1 looking to be making its way on over to PS5 and PS4. Metaphor Refantazio getting an update on June the 7th. That is going to be the big JRPG for the fall. And FF9 Remake seems to be trucking along in development. Might be announced sooner rather than later. And might be out sooner rather than later. That's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.